Hey guys, me again with the second YouTube video of the night, and we're not actually going to be taking a look at a gun. We're actually going to be taking a look at an older Mars mission model that I have taken and modified from its original version to make much better use of space and to also incorporate different Mars mission models themselves as like a combination type of thing. Um, so the base model that I started with is obviously the MX-81 hypersonic operations aircraft, and then I included two other sets as well, and that can be seen in this rendered image here. So we have the base operations aircraft here. We have this, which was a different fighter that had different wings, but I modified it to work with what we have. And then these two vehicles here were the same set. This one's been modified to fit better in this. And then this one over here has been modified to attach to this as well. So a few modifications went into these models, but without really changing the overall look to them for the most part, which is what I'm really happy with. In terms of like what it looks like fully together, for the most part, there's two vehicles missing. The bottom car down here, and then the back pod attack ship thing back here is missing. But this is what the two main models look together in a rendered image, and you can see the back crawler goes on in the back here, and then your front little pylons here actually rotate downwards to form landing gear essentially. So you don't have to worry about this entire front end of the model just like barely hovering above the ground. You can see that these are on the ground and this is also on the ground, so you have points of contact that hold up the entire model itself. So without further ado, this is what the model looks like in its all together form, which actually has the vehicles all in it. You can see there's quite a bit of different things going on, and we are going to slowly kind of break down the modifications that I did to it. So first off, in terms of modifications, I made it a much smoother model. There's a lot more curves going through it and whatnot. I got rid of all the weapons that they just kind of randomly had hanging off of it because it just kind of degraded from the overall look of the model. Some things that you might be able to notice right off the bat, I added another set of engines in the back just to kind of make it look more powerful because you are carrying such a much larger load than what it was originally. These vertical stabilizers in the back as well, but I guess you could also call them kind of slanted stabilizers because they are at a V angle. Obviously, the pylons have been modified so that they're only held on by a single Technic rod that I do want to change to another form of Technic rod later on to make it stronger, but for now this is what we have. And they've also been curved and flattened out as well just to give them a much sleeker look. These pods on the side have their basic overall shape not changed aside from this back section here. I changed it so that it was just slants instead of those wingtips that they have coming up, in particular just to cut down on the amount of stuff we have going on. With those wingtips it looks a little too busy almost, so that's what went there. In the front here, generally there was this weird kind of probe satellite thing that was here, but I removed that and opted in for another kind of command post because in the original set you could remove this pod and then this entire back section didn't have anyone left behind to really operate it in a sense. So I've extended this portion out just a hair and then added this other cockpit in the front here with two astronauts in it so that in the event that these two pods on the side break off, which they still retain their ability to do, you can just pull them off to either side, and then you're left with this. You can still fly this thing. It doesn't seem out of the ordinary to be able to do so. The other thing is I've closed up these back holes just a little bit. That added detail on the inside just a hair, and it also kind of just makes more sense if it's a Mars mission set. Like if these break off in the middle of space, these guys on the inside are kind of screwed unless they have their astronaut suits on. So I broke that up. On the original set, this piece is white. I turned that to a translucent piece just to I don't know, it just looks better. You can see down on the inside of the ship here. In terms of detailing on the inside of these canopies, I use the same computer for that comes with the set normally over here, and then I was using the same one, but the 2 high piece cuts off this guy's line of sight, so I dropped it down to the 1 high piece. You can see that in the back here we have a little ladder that they can use to step up through the fuselage into the rear of the ship over here, and this is a staircase essentially that goes down into the ship. Take a look at what's inside there in a second. You can take and rotate these pylons a full 90 degrees so that they're in flight mode essentially, and then you can use them as cannons as you will. Something that I wanted to retain is the fact that it's not completely defenseless while it's kind of in landing mode, so I have cannons on the wings to use as well. I came in and I smoothed out this back portion here. Generally speaking, it was fairly rigid, so I took and I moved this piece back by a total of 8 studs. And I also came in and added this piece here because I want to say normally it's like this goes right here, I think. So I wanted to fix that. I just moved that over. And then I'm planning on taking and removing these 2 pieces and replacing them with stud pieces that are on top that still accept Technic pinholes to kind of come in and fill this area so that you can't see out inside of it, but at the same time allow this top section to open up as well. On the other side of here, there's usually a cannon kind of Technic launcher thing, but I opted to remove it and add another alien holder because I honestly just like the look of the alien holder a lot better. And that big cannon kind of looked out of place right there. So I'll probably move it somewhere else if I continue to work on this model, maybe underneath it, I don't know. But sometime eventually, maybe, possibly, probably. In the back here, these walls I extended out by a whole 1 stud, and I also put them on little hinge pieces. Now then, this piece won't fully rotate out because of this right here, but if we rotate out this section and we take and do something kind of cheating, we hide that, and you can then hide these wall pieces. We can get a feel for what's on the inside of this model. So you can see the stairs that come back through the middle of the fuselage. It's got these little blue tanks on it. I don't really know what they'd be for, but they're there. You got cargo bins here and here that can obviously open up. Put like a crystal or something on the inside. Spare astronaut helmets, because why not? They're just sitting on a white head beneath them. I got 2 spare astronauts here as well. A computer display here and another computer display over here, and I would assume that these 2 or these 4 white pieces here would also have a computer display of some type on it as well. Now then, if we take and rotate those back up, you can also open up this top hatch here if you'd like to move minifigures around in here. Essentially, you could probably place another minifig right here on top of the staircases and ladders that you see. You could probably reach down on the inside and move some figures around. I left some open studs for minifigures on the inside as well. Not to mention these walls fold out, so you can fold that wall out and you can fold that wall out. And then I will be modifying this design here so that this wall can fold out as well, so that you can fully reach the inside of this. So that is, for the most part, the front modifications. In terms of the carry handle design and what I modified from it, not very much. I widened this portion back here, and I added these here so that we can put these the vertical stabilizers back here as well, just to give it a kind of beefier look, if you will. You can also take and rotate them up and down if you'd like, but to be honest, I like them in that position right here. This engine was way up here, I want to say. I moved it back, and then I added another engine that's extended out quite a bit here. But I had room right here to do something really cool. So these come up and form air brakes, essentially. So if you're coming in for a landing to drop off your mining unit back here, you can deploy these as your air brakes to help slow you down, and then you can use these to start your hover mode. You can touch down, and this will release, fall to the ground, start mining, and then you can take off again, and you're good to go. So that's something that's really cool, and it kind of just hides a little bit of the Technic going on back here as well. Underneath the carry handle, because to be honest, you could do this. It really doesn't bother me. I have that set that we were talking about, and it's stuffed in here. So it can, if I can find it, be removed because it is simply being held on by a pin right there in the back. Let me show that real quick. This pin right there. So it can be removed out the back. It's got its own astronaut in it. And then you can rotate out these little wings simply on hinge pieces. And it's got two little engines on it as well. And then you've got a spare kind of fighter almost. And that just sits right in the back. I didn't really have to modify anything to do that. The only modification I really had to make was the place where it's held on, and that's pretty simple to do because I use Technic beams and stuff to do that. And then the bigger modification here is that I removed that back platform that comes down with the mining thing in, I don't know what the actual term is, to rather have this essentially attached to everything. So I left the pins on if in case you wanted to reinstall that back platform, but I found that to be more of a gimmick than anything, so I went ahead and just made it so that you can attach this to everything else simply by using Technic pins. So I've modified this as well. In terms of modifications, not a whole lot. I've added this 4 stud section on the back here to give me a place to put Technic studs. I've removed what they had going on in here and instead used these sled pieces to put the crystals on the inside. On the back here, I've actually shortened this to keep it shorter so that it can fit where the drop ship is. And then I extended out the ramps by 2 studs as well. And the ramp just can go down to the ground like so. And I retained the option to let the vehicle come up in the back here. I removed that alien thing going on here. I'd rather have room for more things. So in particular, there was like a polybag set, I believe, that came with the Mars mission models that has like a small robot, a mining robot. That thing would go right here, and another one would go over here. And that just combines more sets into this one that I'd find really interesting. The little vehicle that comes up in here is pretty obvious to see. It's this little mining vehicle itself. I had to do some modifications with the cockpit. Instead of the one that they used, I used these two that you see here. And instead of using the bed that they used, I had to use a different bed as well. Still retains the feature to be able to dump things out the back, but it's pretty simple. Got a stud on the inside for a crystal. That sits right there, and that model sits right there. So you can see it sits on the back of this model itself. So it's kind of funny. It's like dropshipception because this big dropship can drop the little tank, and then the tank can drop out this little vehicle itself. So that's really cool. The one thing that I found kind of disappointing about this is that this sits so high that even if you drop this ramp, you still can't drive the car off the back of the actual drop ship itself, which is something that I kind of wanted to do because I think it would have been really cool as a kind of like a feature. So you don't even have to drop this, you can just use the small one if you wanted to. Yeah, that's pretty much all the features going on in terms of this model. It's actually a really cool model, and I think I'm actually going to be working with it just a little bit more to do a lot more cool things with it. I might drop the whole the drop ship section back here. I might just get rid of it and do like just something interesting back here, more like fighters or something. Who knows? I really don't know. I might do some like giant storage container that they can use to haul off all the crystals that they have. I don't know. But this is just something that I wanted to share with you guys outside of the usual stuff that I do. I have messed with Mars mission things before. In fact, I really like messing with the types of Mars mission things because I find it quite fun to mess around with Lego designs and just turn them into better things. Here you can see everything taken apart and rolled out. So this is in official flight mode with the pylons straight. Got this thing over here, this and this as well. So fairly complex modifications, I should say. I had to close off the entire back here as well, by the way, because this was all open. It just makes sense to close it all off. And yeah, I just wanted to show this off to you guys because for all my like more Star Wars oriented fans and things like that, I figure you guys have an appreciation for more smaller things like this. So thank you so much for watching. Remember to comment, rate, and subscribe for more videos similar to this one. I gotta go to bed. I got school tomorrow in the morning. I will see you guys later in another YouTube video.